Hello, my name is Robin Garcia, and I am going to be talking to you today about the application that I have published through and did all the backend stuff through Amazon's infrastructure. So I work as a cybersecurity professional, and I work a lot in the world of compliance. And if you know anything about that, you know that it can be very difficult to go through these audits manually. So most people try to use a tool, but these tools are crazy expensive. They're difficult to use. They just assuming that you know everything about compliance, like right out of the gate, and a lot of people aren't complete experts of everything. So I developed this app, and I use Gemini to build it because I am not a coder, but I do understand a need for these sort of things. So let's get right into it. So over here, this is where I deployed everything through Google. This is the AI Studio. I connected my GitHub up to this, and for each change that I made, it will stage here and it'll show everything that it did. And then you click down here, it'll say stage and push, and you push that, and then it'll push it over. And it'll push everything right up here to GitHub. I'm not going to do that right now because it's working, and I'm not about to make changes right now because it's working. So this is where everything gets stored over here is in GitHub, and I have this connected over to Amplify. So Amplify is where this lives. It's got the domain posted right here. It takes you right where it needs you to go. It does all this cool stuff. It connects up with Cognito, but we'll get into that here in just a moment. It's still using my security token, but anyways, so this is it. So this is where we have everything. So we went to Gemini, GitHub, Amplify. We have the custom domains here. I did go ahead and I purchased this. It was really cheap. This name was available. So I went with this, and I made the application reflect the name of the domain. And I did implement the web application firewall. It was essentially just a toggle to turn on, very easy to use, and it puts out logs as necessary, which is pretty great. Um, and so that's how that comes into Amazon. But there's a lot of other stuff that needs to happen to kind of make this work. So the API and the Lambda functions are kind of the meat and potatoes of the backend compute for this application. So let's get into those. So let's start with the Lambda functions. So some of these are from the other homeworks that we did, so just kind of ignore the ones that aren't there. But these are the ones, so from here up are the ones that we're going to be focusing on. So there's 6 of them that we had to create for various reasons, for uploading evidence, creating new organizations, downloadings, being able to like get a list of organizations to see whether or not people have them. There's still stuff that needs to be worked out, but all of these do work. So we're going to get into some of these here in just a minute, and I'll show you how these work whenever we do the demo. So we have these Lambda functions. Let's go ahead and get into the create organization one. So this is probably one of the most important ones. When people are signing up to use this, it has them fill out a form, and I'll show you all that at the end. But it has them fill out a form, and we put the information in, and it creates an entry in the database, but it's all based off of this. So there's a few things that we had to do here. So I had to put some environment variables in the code to make all of this work. This is the S3 bucket that it references. It's got some other stuff here. This is the table that we're referencing for the organizations. And all of this code was put in here. So we'll get into the individual ones of these here. We got this code here. So I actually packaged this as a file structure here. Put some AWS stuff. So I had to package these as zip files and actually upload them into the infrastructure here to create some layers to make it a little easier for all of the functions to call back to a single set of headers and stuff for the databases, which are all right here, as you can tell. And then it gets to the actual handler of the Lambda. So we did so this is the create organization ones. This one did take some fine tuning as far as the code goes. We'll just let you look at that right there. But we got that working, and for every change that we did, we hit deploy to push it out, and it worked from there. So we did those with 6 of those functions, and we went over here and we created the API for that to kind of make it work. So this is the all of the methods for each part of this that we needed. So we'll get into each one of these. So this is for the organization. We have a few different get and options and post. This is where we can pull information and then actually write information to the database. So we can post that um, the organization name that we put in that I'll show you. And it gets created and an organization ID gets assigned to that. And then from there, an S3 bucket gets created, and there's a few different options there. We can download and upload things. So this goes to and from. This is the database part, and this is the S3 bucket part to make all that work. And to do that, we deploy the API. We have our stages here. We did use this stage. This is the invoke URL that we use. As you can see, there's a ton of stuff here for everything down. Everything is just the same here. It looks pretty great. Um, and yeah, and we've deployed it a few times to make this work. That's some crazy hours, but we did that. So this is this API gateway. We got the Lambda functions. So all of that, there's several different ones that we had to put in there. I did have to edit permissions for all of these as well. I had to come in here and I actually had to click on this, which actually pulls that up. But I had to come in here and add this permissions block right here to make this work so everything could get permissions where it needed to go. We had to specify it out to the database and the S3 bucket here. And those are my ARNs for my buckets and everything else. So those two. So let's get into the actual databases here. So as you can see, there's stuff being actively written to the databases, which is really cool. So I came in here and I just set up a table, kind of just like we did in class. These are some of the other stuff we have for class, but well, just that one. So these two are for the ones that we hear. So we have the organization directory. So these are where the organizations are being written to. And then any evidence that gets uploaded. I haven't actually uploaded anything, but the buckets are being created as I create the organization. So I do know that the Lambda functions and API is working. And just to show you, these are the things that are being created. And if you look, these are actually the organization IDs. So if you come over here, you can click on the table. Do organization directory, and you can see over here, export table items. We can see that we have things that are being created. So if we look at the organization ID right here, I was playing around with some of that, see if I could create the same information twice, and I could, so I got to work that out. But this is what's important right here is the organization ID. So we got one start with a 3A62. So if we come over here to this, we got 3A62. So it shows up right here. So as we create them, those are being created. And we got the init file right here, which you can expect with all of these. So end to end, it does work. So I'm actually going to show you how it works. So we have, this is what the application looks like when we're all logged in and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. You can navigate around, you can click around, and it takes you to different places and you can do different things with it. I think it's really cool because you can upload different things. Like I can actually come in here and add things. So test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3, and let's just call it a server. Let's just say it's just a contractor managed something. We can put more here if we want. Let's just save the asset. There we go, and it updates right there, and it just keeps track of it. So let's pretend that We've never seen any of this before, and we're someone new. So let's just get rid of that. So let's open an incognito window. Pull this up, polycyber.com. We'll be here, so it's going to connect to our secure gateway. And let's just go ahead and create an account. So let's go with my personal email account. That's my address. We'll just do some of that. Some work number. So let's just, actually, you know what? I have a password over here saved. We can save this. All right, we'll sign up. So that's going to send a email to me so we can get set up. So let me go ahead and pull that email code up and get that. All right, so my verification code has in fact been sent. So we're just going to copy that right over and confirm our account. And it's going to look for me, oh, you don't have an organization. Why don't you go ahead and sign one up? So let's call this Harvard Final Exam and create organization. And here we go. And so it created the organization for us. We have one here. That's my email address that we signed up. And now the same thing. I can click around. I can do whatever I want. I can add things. I can start a risk register. I can go through my assets. You saw it was in the other tenant, but it's not in this tenant, so it is separate, which means that our storage separation is working as expected. So we can come over here. We can do all kinds of different things, but let's go ahead and get that out of the way now. So let's go back to our database here. So let's refresh this and see what we see. Oh, look, we have Harvard Final Exam pop up, and we got the organization ID here. It starts with 8E25. So let's go over here to our buckets. 8E25, and there you go. And that's how we see that everything is working end to end. So if I wanted to push more, I definitely could, but we can see that this application is working as expected. So there we go.